Yes, I'm with you.
Ground rules. No questions from the press.
Well, they're all students. Now, there are some
Questions from the students of the press. No, I'm teasing. I take questions all the time. I look forward to questions. I look forward to our questions, talking to you, and don't be afraid to ask me anything. All right? Is that fair enough?
I think that's
and
wonderfully
everything is
fair.
on the record or off the record. I don't care, wherever you want it.
Well, with our dean sitting right here, Boone, I think everything's going to be on the record.
We believe in the First Amendment.
Yeah.
Okay, I do too.
Yeah.
I believe in the First Amendment.
Well, there's a few special guests. I want to introduce Mr. Pickens. We met in when I do the conference in September at the Kauffman Foundation.
Oh, yeah.
Sure. So these are our students from various different levels in the journalism school, from at the Economics for Journalists class, so they're first-level students, to students in various business reporting and other advanced reporting classes, as well as some graduate students. So you have a pretty wide range here.
That's good.
So we also have some special guests. We have the... Okay. We have the chief research officers from the Missouri's 4 campuses here that you just met with, as well as their top-ranking faculty and students. And we also have Ellen Sherberg, who is editor or publisher of the St. Louis Business Journals, who's here and going to be on a panel with us
Ellen
later
and
in
I
the summit.
have talked before.
Excellent.
We're friends. I have a friend here from the press.
Excellent. Well, you have a lot of friends from the press, as I recall.
I know it.
So, Mr. Pickens needs no introduction. Those of you who've really kind of read about him and his bursting onto the scene again, one of many different chapters in his life, last year during the U.S. presidential campaign, talking about the Pickens plan, and his website had how many hits?
How many hits?
Yeah,
Over
so
30
far.
million.
Over 30 million hits. Extraordinary. Many of these students are some of that 30 million. Igniting a campaign about energy. But the coverage of energy is what we're talking about today. And to that end, we have a video from Newsy.com, which is a startup that's here on the Columbia campus where journalism students work in a convergence atmosphere. And the thing about Newsy is they look at news from different points of view.
Multiple perspectives help provide the real story. Hello, I'm Charlotte Bellis and you're watching Newsy.com. As the world celebrates Earth Day, energy consumption is one of the most important topics. Where will we find new forms of energy? How will we work together to use it? And how can journalists tell the story better?
Congress will debate a bill that could completely change the way we make and use energy. Now that the EPA says climate change poses a threat to public safety, Congress could regulate greenhouse gases for the first time.
Now, I'm all for a clean environment, but you want a real clean environment, go back to the cave age.
There's no such thing as clean coal. Have all fallen dramatically. See? Look, if it was so clean, it wouldn't come out from my hand.
Well, it shouldn't be at 41 today. It should be at 20 today. My prediction is right.
Why not take this opportunity to put a tax on gasoline, bump it back up to $4 a gallon, where people were prepared to pay for that, and use that revenue for alternative energy and as a signal to the consumers those days are gone.
A lot of people are deciding, hey, it doesn't pay right now to go with the hybrid because gas is already so cheap.
Really, what we're doing is reinventing the automobile, how we move around in cities and interact in cities.
Italy and France have signed a new cooperation deal that could see Italy embrace nuclear power again 21 years after voters rejected atomic energy.
What's the problem with wind power?
Well, Megan, I guess it's too easy, for one, but for two, some people don't like the way it looks.
Those turbines produce electricity without any emissions, without any other fuel source other than the wind, and they produce a lot of power.
Future sidewalks might be covered with smart panels that capture piezo electricity, power generated from applied mechanical pressure.
So what do you think? Are journalists doing a good job of telling energy stories? Please visit our sources and stay tuned for more of Newsy.com's Earth Day coverage, where we look at perspectives on some of the world's most pressing environmental and energy issues. I'm Charlotte Bellis and you're watching Newsy.com, where multiple perspectives help provide the real story.
That's produced by students under instructor, and Charlotte Bellis, the anchor there, is a graduate student here. So,
why didn't you have me on it?
well, because you're part of this.
Okay.
So, we're going to take some questions from students. I want to introduce
How
Christy.
much time do we have?
We have until 11:30, so we have about 30 minutes. Christy Millward, we brought her in. She's from Dallas to make you feel at home.
Good.
And last summer she interned for the now defunct Shale TV. So, do we have a question?
Christy?
Yeah, Christy.
Christy.
She's a broadcast major here. Question: who wants to be first? Yes. Okay. Excellent. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Maggie. I'm from Chicago. Hi, I'm Maggie. I'm from Chicago, and I'm a freshman in the J School. I'm just wondering, like, today is Earth Day, and with all the other problems in the economy right now, with the recession and the war in the Middle East, how do you keep the interest in sustainable fuels alive?
The last part.
How do you keep the interest in sustainable fuels and alternative energy?
My number one issue is security for America, and that is we're importing almost 70% of our oil. So regardless of the price, the security issue never goes away as long as we've got to lower the dependency. So does it help me when prices are up? Probably so. When I started with the Pickens plan July the 8th, let me have a show of hands that you know what the Pickens plan is. Good, thank you. That when I started that day in Washington, I saw the prices. I didn't walk as I was going down the street in the car. $4.11 was gasoline that day. So I couldn't have picked a better day to launch a deal on energy because everybody had energy, in front of them. And then we went down to below $2. But what happened is I stirred up so much interest in the security issue, and I had so many people signed up with me, and we were in good communication on the internet that are there any of you that are members of my Army? Not many, but maybe after today you'll sign up with me. But the Army, we communicate on energy only. It has nothing to do with politics. This is not a political issue. And that was why it was so easy for me to work with the Democrats, that being a conservative, that and I had been very prominent in past presidential campaigns. I met with Harry Reid, majority leader, and knew Harry, but we had always been on the other side of most issues. And I said, Harry, I'm in a new role. And he said, what is it? And I said, it's a nonpartisan issue, but we've got to solve the security problem for America, and we've got to do it quickly because we're at risk every day in this country. And we talked for about an hour, and he said, I know this, you're an honest guy, you're an honorable person, you're a tough competitor, and if you say you're out of the campaign, you're out, I believe you 100%, and I'll be glad to work with you on the issue. So from that point forward, everything started to get easy for me on what I was trying to accomplish. And so Reid and I have worked closely together. Pelosi, not as close to Pelosi, but have had numerous meetings with her. She is not opposed to what I'm doing. She too is concerned about dependency. So it's that part is work. The harder side of my issue has been to work with the Republicans, where I've been for all my life until now, and then I'm nothing but a lone wolf out there, a lone ranger out there trying to solve a problem for the country. So anyway, but the Republicans are coming back because they believed you could drill your way out of the problem, that drilling off the OCS on the East Coast, West Coast, ANWR in the Eastern Gulf of Mexico, that you could solve the problem. That isn't even prospective. no way you can do that. Now, I've launched into a speech off of, is it Maggie's question from Chicago? And I apologize for taking your question and making it into a speech on response. But I would like to say, and hope you put it in your notes, that the global production is 85 million barrels a day. That's about it. And I don't see the globe doing any more than that. That's about it. So if you peaked on production, then you start to decline. You can't hold a level very long. And today, the 85 million declines at the rate of 8% a year. So every year, if we're going to hold 85, we've got to take the 8% decline and build back on it. So you're declining at 7 million a year if you don't do anything. Now, if you see what has happened with the price of oil going up to 147 and then going back down to 40, and now at 46 this morning, that you see projects shut down all over the world. And that is going to be interesting as it unfolds. With projects shut down, that decline curve of 8% is going to start to be a big, big factor. But out of the 85 million barrels that's produced every day, we use 21 million in the United States. That is a very, I think, it's hard to explain because we only have 4% of the population. So we're using 25% of all the oil every day in the world, and we only have 4% of the population. And that is, we can be tagged very quickly with, you are the problem. When the price of oil goes back up again, and it will, we'll be up to $75 a barrel by the end of the year. And it'll move up as the economy, global economy recovers. It'll go back again because you're capped at 85, and demand will go back to 87, and that's what it was in the second half of 08, was 87 million. 85 won't cover 87, so the price skyrocketed up to $100 a barrel and beyond. So having said that, I imagine I've opened up some other questions.
Well, actually, we have a team here who's been working on an energy story out of Iowa and the shutdown of ethanol plants because of the collapse of oil prices. This team, our journalism school, is doing a joint project with Business Week. So I'll take a question from the energy team about ethanol and other farm-based products.
Yes, thank you. My name's Chris. I'm a graduate student from Colorado. In the Pickens plan, you mentioned that natural gas is sort of a bridge fuel to transportation to hydrogen and electricity maybe later on, but I think we're curious where you see the short-term future of ethanol and whether it can be saved, since that's the at the federal level, that's been where the push has been from.
The ethanol, you know, won't move an 18-wheeler. So it's for light duty. And am I for ethanol? Yes. Anything that's American, I'm for. I don't like foreign oil. So ethanol does replace foreign oil in the overall mix. But the only thing that's going to move the 18-wheeler that we have in our resources now, there's only one, that's natural gas. That's the only one. And so that's the best place to start if we're going to reduce dependency, is on the big users. So go after the 18-wheelers and then let it filter to wherever it goes. It could go down to my level. I use a Honda GX Civic, which is a natural gas passenger car. And I'm for ethanol. I would raise what are you now, 13% on the blend? Is that what it is?
I believe so.
Pardon me?
I believe so. I believe that's correct.
If you all are working on ethanol, you should know what the blend is in the overall mix with gasoline. And that I've got some things here that I would like to share with you. But these are some. It says thoughts on media coverage, energy issues, and I'm going to say that I'm not happy with the way the media does some of these things. One is never hold candidates or elected officials accountable, as you do corporate CEOs. Corporate CEOs are raked pretty good, which is fine. I don't have any problems. They should be accountable. But I don't think that the media holds elected officials accountable. And I take you to one statement, Everybody, I don't care whether Democrat or Republican, that has run for president has said, elect me and we'll be energy independent. Every one of them has said that. Nothing happened. We're not energy independent. We're energy more dependent. Every time we get another president, we're more dependent. This president has said and did say when he accepted the nomination in Denver, and I had met with him 2 months before, that he said he said in 10 years we will not be dependent on foreign oil from the Mideast. I think that came from my meeting with him in Reno in August. We'll see if he sticks to it. I think he's got a plan. Anytime you have one that says in 10 years we will not be importing any oil from the Mideast, you can't do that without a plan. That's got to have something, and I think he's got it. High gasoline prices invariably dispatch a TV crew to the gas station where angry consumers complain about prices. Too often, easy sound bites, but not in-depth reporting of underlying supply and demand issues. You know, you got a guy out there, he's had a bad day. What do you think about gasoline prices going up? They're terrible. I hate it. I hate gasoline prices going up. Sure he does. Everybody does. Nobody likes that. Who do you blame? Exxon. Exxon doesn't have anything to do with the price of gasoline. Believe it or not, they don't. Exxon only has 2.5% of all the oil reserves in the world. 2.5%. 70% of all the oil in the world is controlled by foreign oil state companies, such as Saudi Aramco, Pemex, PDVSA. Those are all companies that have control of the oil. We don't have control of the oil in the United States. Okay. Exxon and price manipulation hearings before Congress. You see that. Price goes up, and they pull Exxon in. I don't stump for Exxon. In fact, I'm at odds with them continually. But in this case, they don't have anything to do with it. They call Exxon, Chevron, ConocoPhillips in and have a hearing. Why are you raising gasoline prices? I don't know why they don't say it. We aren't raising gasoline prices. It's the people that own the oil that are raising the price. It's Saudi Arabia. It's Kuwait, whoever. Coverage of the moment for the moment. Question I get most often from the media these days. Boone, your plan made sense in July at $140 a barrel, but doesn't make sense now because oil has gone to $40 a barrel. I spoke to that a second ago. That isn't the issue. Security is the issue. It's not the price of the oil. Give equal voice to other sides, often failing to take into account credibility of the source or amount of coverage they give relative to the overall price. I travel with an ABC crew, and they could not get anybody to say anything bad about wind energy. We were in Sweetwater, Texas. They found 100 people that thought it was a good idea. They could not find one to give it to pan it. Finally, they found a guy and said, could you tell me, you've lived here? He said, yes. Said, and you like wind energy? Yes. Said, do you know anybody that doesn't like wind energy? You know, it was desperate. The reporter had to find somebody. Now he's got 100 people that have said they're for it. Now he's got to find one. I had the feeling the way this story was going to unfold, and I was with him, and I heard the question, that it was going to unfold. He was going to finally find one against. Now he had 100 for it. It would not be said. There were 100 for it, one against. It was 1-to-1. He took one that was for it and one against it, and that's the way it was reported. The guy finally threw him a curve. He said, okay, you know somebody's against it. Who is it? He said, the guy that doesn't have the turbines. That's the only one that was against it. Okay, made a point. One issue I hear from journalists all the time that my Pickens plan is all about me making money. Totally ignore the fact that I've given away $700 million in the last 5 years. And I spent $60 million selling the Pickens plan and making people in America aware of what the security issue is and the dependency on foreign oil. That there's little likelihood that I'm going to get my $60 million back out of the $60 million that I have spent. So I'm not in it. I'm not in it to make money, but at the same time, I would be dishonest with you if I said that I expect to make money out of wind? Of course I do. I mean, I'm not going to go out there. I now have invested $150 million. I'm not sure I'll ever make any money out of it the way things have gone, but I went in it believing I would make money. But I always tell people, they say, well, you're in this to make money. Well, I'm in it because of the reasons I've already told you, and that's it. If I put any money in something, I expect to make money, of course. So, okay, let's go back to questions.
Okay. Jonathan?
Hi, my name is Jonathan, and I'm from Kansas City. Going back to the 18-wheeler question and how it only runs on natural gas, in today's economy, how do you expect people to buy more cars with natural gas if people don't have very much money in their pocket already to not buy a car with that runs on oil?
Okay, I'm not going to encourage anybody to buy a car that's on natural gas. I'm not up here selling you that. What I'm up here telling you is we got a security problem for America, and this is the way to solve it, and it goes to the 18-wheelers. Your car will be your decision to make. I mean, this is America, so buy whatever you want to buy. I think this is the way it's going to go and we've got an administration that has at this point told you they want renewables, they want green, they want to be clean, they want to get away from hydrocarbons, all these things. At the same time, I've got Al Gore, and I've become very friendly. He says you've got to use natural gas for heavy duty because it's the only resource we have that's going to move an 18-wheeler. It's 30% cleaner than diesel. It is cheaper, it's abundant, and it's ours. We would be fools not to use it, and we will use it. But see, the media should be a part of having that happen. They should understand the question fully, and every time you get a politician in front of you, ask them, what is your energy plan? What is your energy plan? If they say, well, I'm for energy. Really, give us a little more depth on the subject. I'm for our energy. That's good. What is your plan, though? Just being for it is not going to make it work. What is your plan for energy? Well, I want more research. Oh, that's good. But what is your plan to get us off of foreign oil? There's a plan on the table. Pickens has a plan. Here it is. What do you think of his plan? Oh, I don't like his plan. Okay, what plan do you like? Well, let me tell you, at that point, they don't have a plan. If they don't have a plan, then it's foreign oil. It is foreign oil. And nobody wants to be for foreign oil. So what I want all of us to do, not for me, I'm not asking you to do this for me, I'm telling you to do it for America, is what it is. Crowd them in a corner, tell me, what is your plan? Do you have a plan? If you don't have a plan, then your plan's foreign oil. See, for 40 years, we've had no plan in America for energy. None, zero. You say, well, how did that happen? How could that happen to us? Because we had cheap oil. We had cheap oil. So we just drifted into a horrible situations where we exist today. If we go forward 10 years, like we have done in 40 years, in the last 40 years, no plan, if we go forward, just let it be like it is and just drift. Okay, 10 years from now, this is where we'll be. We will be importing 75% of our oil. The security issue will be even higher than it is today, but we'll be paying $2 trillion a year for our oil. $2 trillion a year for foreign oil when we have resources in this country that could get us off of foreign oil. $2 trillion. Well, I can tell you two things that we've solved. Two things we've solved if we're going to drift 10 more years. We have solved health care and education, because you're not going to have any money to pay for health care and education. You can't even discuss it because the money won't be there to do it because we bought foreign oil with it. Ellen.
I have a two-part question. One is, how long does it take you to he or she is talking about.
If what?
If a reporter knows what he or she is talking about. And two, when you figure it out, how do you treat the person who knows what they're talking about differently from the person who doesn't?
So how long do you
A
suffer?
reporter, yeah.
How long do you suffer fools? Basically, is Ellen's. Yeah.
Actually, that's not my question.
Okay.
Because I think there are some reporters who aren't fools who still don't know what they're
Yeah.
talking about energy.
Okay.
How fast can you tell?
Pretty quick.
What's the difference in how you treat them?
Well, I've had a lot of experience, and so I treat people differently now than I did, say, 40 years ago. If I had a reporter that didn't know the subject and let's just say, it was obvious real quick, I just tell them, you're wasting my time and yours too. You need to go understand something about the subject, and then let's talk. And I just dismiss them. I don't do that anymore. That's pretty rude, and you can figure that you've probably made somebody mad. You hurt their feelings, and they will never be for you or whatever you're for. They will just be automatically against you. So I don't do that anymore. I love to talk to somebody that really knows the subject, that really pins me down, and ask me serious questions about a serious subject, and we can have some kind of exchange. That's great. That you feel both have enjoyed the interview and have gained from it. But if I find somebody that doesn't know the subject, I will work with them. And if they ask me a question that's just a complete off the wall question, I say, now why are you asking me that question? I mean, why do you ask that question? Where does it come from? And that, in a way, if they get comfortable with me, they're glad that I'll spend the time to inform them on some things. Well, how could I take advantage of them? I don't write an article. So there isn't anything I could do to them other than just embarrass them, and that's not any fun to do that. And so, I've asked reporters after we get through, I said, what's your opinion on this? Oh, I can't have an opinion. I said, really? I said, I think everybody has an opinion. I'm not writing an article, so you're not going to see where you're quoted. But what do you think? Am I on the right track? And every once in a while somebody will say, I think you are, but I would give you, they give me advice, which is good. That's what I'm asking for. And I'm not writing an article. But for somebody to tell me I can't have an opinion, sure, you got opinion. You may not want to reveal it, but we all have opinions about these things.
Let's go over here.
Mr. Pickens, Ryan Moimura from Los Angeles. Thanks for coming, by the way. This is very much a generational issue. I think mainly because it affects college students, because it is our future, and the security issue that you bring up is something that we may have to deal with. With that said, you're looking for private investors as part of your Pickens plan for these wind farms in the in the Midwest, like in Sweetwater. Is it difficult to get investors because you're really dealing with states and with people that, as investors, they might be older or more fiscally conservative? And how do you appeal to those, I guess, the generational gap?
Is it Wayne?
Ryan.
Yeah. Ryan, you don't know the subject very well.
How so?
I'm not looking for investors. Can I help you on this?
Sure.
Yeah, your question should be to me, am I looking for investors? Instead of assuming I'm looking for
Well, in the 10-minute video, that was one of the mentions that you made, was that you might need investors for the wind farms.
Yeah, the way the wind farms set up, I mean, it was great when you had $8 natural gas, because then you could finance. because the pricing of wind is off the margin. The margin is natural gas power generation. And so, I mean, those are kind of, you're thinking, well, I don't know anything about this stuff and all. But as a reporter, you want to become familiar with, one, how is the pricing of the wind? And understand it. And so when you come into the interview, you know what you're talking about, or you know enough that you sound like you know what you're talking about. See what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so you need to do some study before you get there, and look up. You look me up and see, is he trying to raise money? Who is he trying to raise money from, and all. And so in this case, you're struggling with the wind financing, and right now I'm thinking wind bank from the government, because I can't get credit from a commercial bank for this. Can't do it because it won't pencil, because natural gas is $4 and you're pricing off the margin, and you have to have $8 natural gas to get enough for the wind to make it work.
Is that something that's changed since you came out with the video in August?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, natural gas when I came out was $9, so now it's down to $4, and so you're here, and I would expect a question now at this point from you is, why are you even doing it? If it doesn't make financial sense, why would you go out and do it? The reason is because I got committed, and I now have got $150 million in turbine purchases, and I owe another $1.5 billion for turbine. So it's sort of like you're in something. Now you got to figure your way out of it. I don't receive turbines until 2011. So typical geologist, typical entrepreneur, a guy that does take financial risk, I go, well, I'll have it figured out before I get to 2011 and start getting those, or I'm going to have to get a bigger garage to store them in. You know what I mean? These things are going to start showing up pretty fast in 2011.
Is that why you start talking about security now instead of the price? It seems like you're really trying to hit home on the security aspect of. I know it was a big part of the plan before, the 70%.
Oh, now wait a minute. You're saying, am I going to try to cover the wind risk that I have with the security question? No, because see, wind doesn't replace foreign oil.
But the natural gas from the wind energy would decrease the amount of foreign oil.
Well, but wind and solar, nuclear, none of those will reduce. That was the one that McCain in my meeting with him in August. He said, you're against nuclear. I said, no, I'm not against nuclear. I'm for anything that's American, and nuclear is fine with me. I'm ready to go. But nuclear won't reduce dependency. Neither will wind. And you're thinking that you take natural gas out of power generation, replace it with wind. There is so much natural gas in America today. You're oversupplied by 5 billion cubic feet of gas. This is the most unbelievable window of opportunity for our country, is to do it now. Go now with the natural gas for transportation. But the wind doesn't do it. The wind is something that I wish that I probably had not made such a big bet on.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Allison. What steps, if any, are car companies, foreign or domestic, taking towards creating those 18-wheelers that run on natural gas? Because you obviously have a consumer car, but are there any 18-wheelers currently?
I didn't understand the question.
It's an auto industry question about producing the kind of retrofitting for 18-wheeler trucks to run on natural gas.
You don't, I'm not retrofitting.
Or building new ones was her question.
There are five truck manufacturers in the United States that make natural gas trucks. And I don't want to retrofit. I want to go seamless. And you have to bear with me because I just came out of another meeting, and I think I talked about this subject in there, but I have not talked about it here, have I?
No.
Okay. You start to, day after day, and question after question, you start to say, have I already answered this question, or where was I last, you know? But anyway, I use everything I tell you, I have a model for. I'm not big on research and development because I'm too old. At 80, I'll be 81 next month. That's too old for R&D for me. I want to go with a working model, something that will fit, and I will be able to explain to anybody that asks me, okay, here's my model. Here's my model for your question. Is that he had a guy named Barry Wallerstein, and he was head of South Coast Air Quality Management District in Southern California. He had an air quality problem. He's a smart guy. He had a lot of money. AQMD can tax and has a lot of money. So he said, okay, we've got an air quality problem. How do we solve it? Who are the biggest polluters? Okay, biggest polluters, easy, trash trucks. They run 24/7. They have a idle, and so the burn on it is very bad. One trash truck diesel taken off the streets is equivalent to 325 cars. So he said, okay, go after the diesel. This is the way it works. When you buy in Southern California in the trash hauling business, you have to buy natural gas. You have to buy natural gas. AQMD has money. They'll give you $50,000. The incremental difference between natural gas, more expensive for the truck, cheaper for the fuel. They'll give you $50,000 and you buy natural gas. That's all you can buy. That was 7 years ago. They have had tremendous results, all good. And they have over 2,500 natural gas trash trucks now, and they're over 50% on natural gas, seamless. I would see the same thing happening to the 18-wheelers, that when you buy, you have to buy natural gas, domestic fuel, and cheaper. They incent you, and this is in H.R. 1835 bill, so you need to get that, look at that, and in it is $65,000 per truck. So when an 18-wheeler, J.B. Hunt, buys an 18-wheeler, they'll get $65,000. They'll buy the natural gas, and then you move into it that way. If they do what we recommended, which apparently the bill is open-ended from the standpoint, $350,000 is what we took to the Obama transition team. It was $350,000. What would that do for America if we did it? It would cost America $30 billion to incent those truckers to buy 18-wheelers. Remember, we're buying $500 billion a year in foreign oil. So we have a huge amount of money going out of the country. Now we're going to try to get some of it back and use our own resources. So here you would go that direction. What would it do for you? If you did $350,000 out of 6.5 million 18-wheelers, and that would take you down by 4% on foreign oil with only $350,000. That would make a dent. Pelosi, the Speaker of the House, asked me to come in on a Wednesday morning at 10 o'clock and for a 20-minute meeting, and I didn't know what the meeting was about. I knew it was about energy. I went to that meeting. Henry Waxman was there, George Miller was there, and Charles Rangel. So that is, I know you all are into politics, and so you know those are heavy weights to be in a meeting. And so you go in there with it. That meeting went an hour and 10 minutes. The first question from Pelosi to me was, how can you reduce dependency the fastest? How can you do it? And I said, go after the big producers, the big users of diesel, and change them over to natural gas. So this would create 450,000 jobs if you did 350,000 of them. But I have the feeling that you're going to, if you do this, you're going to start into the program, and that you're going to see it's successful, so you'll expand it rather quickly and go after all 6.5 million is what the way it'll work.
So to understand what you just said, you said you want to encourage the buying of new natural gas trucks rather than retrofitting, because you think it would incentivize the economy more by producing more jobs?
It would. We need to. Retrofitting will probably happen in some cases. I don't discourage it, but I don't encourage it. It's just, but go to the new vehicles.
And those 5 domestic truck producers are in the process of creating a mass-produced version of that natural gas 18-wheeler. Are those 5 domestic companies?
Are the 5 domestic companies producing enough trucks?
Producing any
they're
or
producing
doing R&D for them.
Okay.
If you don't mind me kind of grading it as we go, is that okay to do
Yeah,
that?
go ahead.
Okay, that's a great question. Is because how fast can we do it? And it's about 100,000 trucks a year, is what
And they're
doing.
currently doing that now.
That's right. They're doing 100,000. So what will happen as it picks up? You know, and I do too, that you can build anything. I promise you can build anything in America, however many you want. I mean, if there is a market for it, it'll come, and it'll come pretty fast. Now, the next question at that point should be, well, wait a minute. You're going to have to fuel these trucks. What does the infrastructure look like? And the infrastructure will come with the trucks. That the trucks will be ordered. For instance, J.B. Hunt's talking about maybe ordering 100 trucks. If they ordered 100 trucks, it's going to take them, they'll get them over a period of 3 years is what will happen. So they get 30 trucks a year. By the time they get 30 trucks there, you can have the fueling station built. Remember, natural gas is the most widely distributed resource in America. It's up every street and down every alley. So you can get the fuel, and you can get it quickly.
Well, we run out of time, and I see our Assistant President, Gary Forsey, has joined us. But we thank you so much for your time with our students. By the way, this questioner is going to be working for Bloomberg News this summer.
You are?
Mm-hmm.
Good.
So,
could I add something?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay. I'm sorry we didn't get more questions, and I made too many speeches, so that's my fault. But I want to ask you now, how many of you will sign up with me on my website? It's a reason why I don't get 100% is because you can't sign up, because it then makes you biased as to what I'm trying to get accomplished. Is that a reason? Okay, you're missing a lot of information when you do that. When you sign up with me, you're not voting. You're not voting for this or against this. But when you sign up, you are going to get the best information on energy that you'll ever get. And it'll be current every week. And it will keep you up to date on what is happening in the passing of this legislation, which is extremely important, because this year is going to go very, very fast on energy. And it's going to mean so much to your generation, because really this shouldn't be my responsibility. I mean, I can make it to the finish line, my age out, with standard of living not changing. But you can't. You can't. My children, my grandchildren, and great-grandchildren can't either. So that's sort of, where I come out. I think, well, I'm doing it for generations to come. And this is important for all of us, because this year you're going to see more out of Congress than you've ever seen on energy. And I feel like I have been a big factor in causing that to happen, which is good. It's good for the country. And so, but the way it's going to unfold, this year you're going to see the blueprint. We're all going to see how much the Obama administration is going to support renewables and the transportation fuel and the reduction of dependency and everything else. That you're going to see all of that this year. And so it's going to be a pressure-packed year. So don't think, oh, well, I'll put this on the back burner. I got some other things that are more important. I'll just look at this next year. Look at it all year. Keep up with it. Be current on it, because the way we're going to solve the problem is going to be solved with us. With us. And when I say us, I'm talking about everybody in America. Because this will be like war. And it will be, nobody will get killed. There will be no guns. But we will pull together as a country. It has nothing to do with politics. And it'll come together, and it'll be a great unifying force for our country to work together on this problem, which is so important to all of us. Thank you.
Thank you. It's Jordan, a pleasure to see you again. Is Madeline with you?
No, Madeline's sick. She's had